This video may or may not contain spoilers. Portal, the franchise, a duology from 2007, developed and released by Gaben Entertainment. It is a game that is known for its originality and humor, something which most content creators today sorely lack. Playing it makes you feel like a glowing-brained cave goblin with a severe addiction to skooma, due to how fast-paced and thought-provoking this franchise can get. It is a fine masterpiece with a gameplay loop which feeds you dopamine for figuring shit out, and has a personality which led to people falling in love with a fucking cube, as well as an oversized sentient gas dispenser, giving Shodan and HAL 9000 a run for their money.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
This time I'll be covering both games instead of doing that shit one by one, mainly because I'm feeling nostalgic, and I'm beginning to envy that guy for his crack stash. Even more so because he's fucking dead! Motion Sickness the Game was developed by Gabe the Wizard and his merry little band of gremlins. It was based on another game called Narbacular Drop, and once Gabe saw it, he enslaved the devs of the thing and forced him to remake it inside the Source engine. And I gotta say, the man is a fucking genius, because the outcome is fucking glorious. Yet another revolutionary game, the likes of which we haven't seen since the second installment from 2011, with an atmosphere which gives a sense of isolation, a dark sense of humor, as well as a unique style of gameplay, all of which made the thing so goddamn memorable to so many people. Both Portal games take place within the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center, first established in the early 1940s by a brilliantly boneheaded moron known as Cave Johnson, first selling military-grade shower curtains, then buying a big fuck-off salt mine in southern Michigan to do science and shit. In this game you play as a new test subject named John Portal, roughly around the same time the events of Half-Life 1 take place.
Gordon Freeman. I don't think so.
Have you ever heard of a game called Genshin Impact?
Do you know who ate all the donuts? You can't be serious. Oh no!
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture.
Welcome to Aperture, an empty place run by a deranged sentient ceiling tumor named GLaDOS. There's not a soul to be found here because the oversized Game Boy had read Mein Kampf, and then gassed the entire facility, killing everyone. The game consists of you making your way through the test chambers, but it ain't long before the robotic cunt runs out of them and tries to kill you. But you foil her plans and escape into an area known as Behind the Scenes. You press forward until you eventually find the very thing that has been trying to kill you this entire time.
Well, you found me. Congratulations. Was it worth it? What are you doing?
Welcome to Portal 2, the meat and potatoes of this video. After defeating the beloved bucket of bolts, you have finally reached the surface. However, you then got dragged back into the hellhole and were put into suspended animation. When you finally wake up, you are told to do some dumb shit in order to check for brain damage. After which you go back to sleep, only to wake up inside the same but now heavily worn down version of the room. It's a beautiful day, only to be interrupted by the British. This is Wheatley, a personality core with a dumbass sense for decision making. He yaps about how much time has passed and how we ought to get out of here. He drives the box we're in like a woman's stereotype, and after fittingly crashing into a wall, repeatedly, he punches a hole in it and you go through, back into the same place in which Portal once started, except now it's completely dilapidated and overgrown. You see, after you killed GLaDOS, the entire facility fell into disrepair, and given the amount of time that has passed between the two games, the pretty green shit began to slowly take over the facility. You solve puzzles, press buttons and shit when you approach the pedestal which used to hold a portal gun. However, the floor breaks and you fall into a watery pit. Down the flooded corridor, you come across the first half of the portal gun. Once you reunite with a British football, you continue on through the facility with escape in mind. Passing by the carcass of GLaDOS, both of you look for an escape pod.
Tell you what, plug me in.
And so you do, when the little shit starts going up and flipping all the damn switches, which results in GLaDOS being booted back up.
Act natural, nothing. Hello!
Oh, it's you.
You know her?
It's me. What in the hell is wrong with you? A gun? Seriously? I mean, I get that we're in the US, but still...
Oh no! No, 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 no! Oh no, 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 no!
Okay, look, the least you could do is give me a little more credit than that.
And so she drops you down the incinerator. Once you land strolling down through the debris, you finally come across the second and final half of the portal gun. And with GLaDOS being now reawakened, she is understandably quite pissed.
Here come the test results. You are a total sack of shit.
That's what it says.
A total sack of shit.
We weren't even testing for that.
Down a few chambers, you're told of your parents, and GLaDOS decides to give them a call.
Let's give your parents a call right now.
Hello, is this the sack of shit residence?
Who is this?
Your daughter has been a very naughty girl.
Who is it? What? I should kick your fucking ass.
Oh, that's sad.
After that short phone session, you run into the British again, who lets us in on an escape plan he's working on. Acting natural as if nothing is amiss, you keep making your way through the chambers when suddenly...
What's going on? Who turned off the lights?
Hey, buddy! What do you say we ditch this shit and go smoke some drugs, yeah?
Look, Metal Ball, I can hear you.
Oh, bollocks! Run, run, run!
The plan is in motion. Both you and Wheatley are now en route to making your escape. First order of business, though, taking care of the turret production and the mustard gas generator. However, to get to the set things, you are to make your way through the treacherous manufacturing areas, where I get killed by some random-ass automaton.
This way. Fuck!
Jumping down the tubes, past the weird-ass door and onto the conveyor belt, you come across what peeps like to refer to as the Oracle turret. It presumably foreshadows the upcoming events in the game. Well, shit. A little further down, we reach the turret control center, a place which sorts the good turrets from the defective ones. Obviously, we ought to fuck that up, so here's how we go about it. Go back to the entrance, catch one of these defective turds, go back to the template, smash, remove, and replace, done. Now, with that out of the way, the next thing on the agenda is the neurotoxin generator, so you start making your way there. However, before that, you come across the Bring Your Daughter to Work Day thing, a place where the little shits try to prove how smart they are. They got potato battery, the breath thing, potentially a radioactive biohazard, and where's the fucking soil? Down the catwalk, you come across a big fucking steel tampon with tubes sticking out of it. This is the aforementioned neurotoxin generator. Obviously, you're gonna have to fuck that thing up. So you give that thing a haircut with a fucking laser and then... After we have a little adventure downstairs, we come out of the tube and continue making our way to a familiar place of sorts.
I honestly, truly didn't think you'd fall for that.
God damn it. We get brought over to the glorified toaster with an ominous presence. It continues to yap some dumb shit like a high school prep girl when she tries to use turrets to take you out.
Oh, you were busy back there.
Then she tries to use trench warfare bullshit, but that fails too, and instead the ball twat rolls in.
Hello!
I hate you so much.
Now we are at the part of the game where shit goes in a different, yet a somewhat predictable direction. As it turns out, because there's another core in the room, GLaDOS can be replaced. But there has to be another person to resolve the stalemate, by pressing a sole fucking button. So you plug that little shit in, press the button, and set the impending shitstorm into motion, as GLaDOS gets replaced with the little shit, and he takes over the role of the Omega Cunt Bag for the rest of the game.
Wow! Giant robot, massive. It's not just me, right? I am bloody massive, aren't I? Sorry, what?
Compensating for something?
No, no.
Maybe it's that you are a little slow.
What?
A little stupid.
Stop!
Design issue.
I am not!
A moron.
Shut up!
Oh, hi. So, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato. Get your hands off me. No.
Welcome to Tartarus, a place which once held the main Aperture Science offices, back in the olden days when the old Cave Johnson still ran the place. God knows how much time has passed since the events of the first game took place, let alone when this place was still in use. Through the rubble and shit, you make your way to what looks like a giant-ass silo door. One small puzzle and a long-ass suspenseful wait later... a tiny-ass door. Comedy. Through it, you come across a big puddle of shit, but you don't care and turn left. A little further down, you flip a switch and get introduced to the man behind this entire facility.
Welcome, gentlemen, to Aperture Science. Astronauts, war heroes, Olympians, you're here because we want the best. And you are it. Now, you already met one another on the limo ride over, so let me introduce myself. I'm Cave Johnson. I own the place.
When you at last come across the first old-ass test chamber, you're introduced to the repulsion gel. Basically, it's some blue shit that makes you and anything that is covered in it bounce around indefinitely. Further on through these tests, you hear more of Cave Johnson's pre-recorded messages, which honestly are just a pure fucking treat.
Bean counter said I couldn't fire a man just for being in a wheelchair. Did it anyway. Ramps are expensive. This on? Hey, listen up down there. That thing's called an elevator, not a bathroom.
And there are so many more of them in the campaign as well as the level editor that I ain't got the time nor the attention span for that shit. Which is also why this video is taking such a long ass time to make. My bad. A few more tests later you come across some levers which activate another gel pump. This one is orange and its purpose is to outrun a fucking nuke or some shit, cause this thing makes you go fast. However, before you get to do some tests with it, we are gonna make a slight detour. A hop and a leap away, we come across our little murderous piece of shit. You saved the discount Prometheus gender bend from that bird so that you could fucking impale her yourself. After which you go upstairs to see the main reason why I'm making this video specifically now. Past this pile of random office shit, through the elevator doors and the only open door, we come across the dry dock. See that wheel? The name on it? Shit gonna be important in the next video. Promise. But anyway, continuing on, we leap into the elevator and carry on. As you enter the next test chamber, GLaDOS recognizes the guy from the tapes, and oddly enough, mimics what his assistant Caroline is saying at the same time.
Caroline, are the compensation vouchers ready?
Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson. Boy, did I just... Who is that? What the hell is going on here?
Blacking out for the third fucking time in the span of 3 minutes, the bastard. Another few test chambers later, a new and final gel. This one lets you place portals on any surfaces that are covered in it. Up a level and over the chasm, once again we hear Cave talk.
Welcome to the Enrichment Center.
He is all fucked up now because...
Sir, what are you doing?
I'm snorting up the solar system's third rock satellite rocks and shit. They bombard this bitch with 33 metric tons of flying space shit. Shit's so corrosive it should be asking me, where's the unforeseen consequences? Fellow, this shit will shut the G-Man out. Warning. Critical levels of bone melting detected. Lung slaughtering lunar happy dust. A whiff of this shit. Yeah, it's that nefarious evil alien magic. This bitch straight out of Michigan. This shit is what killed Cave Johnson. Rest in peace, my nigga for real.
What the fuck? Basically, the boneheaded genius bought $70 million worth of moon rocks despite having the budget of an average college student. Grounded that shit up and turned that shit into the white gel.
Credit card debt?
Then he got covered in it and developed turbo weights, hence his shitty health condition. Just a short ways up and a small test later, we get to hear the most iconic rant in the franchise and probably the video game history to date.
Alright, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these?
Take the lemons.
Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down. With the lemon.
Oh, I like this guy.
I'm gonna get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down.
Burn his house down. Burning people. He said what we're all thinking.
I swear to God, J.K. Simmons is one talented bastard. He also now looks like a fucking wizard, so kudos to this total badass. But enough of the wet fangirl rambles, back to the plot. Basically, he yaps about creating a computer that can store a person's mind and personality on it. And if he were to die before it was completed, they were to shove his assistant Carolyn into it despite her protests. Further and up ahead, we fuck with the air ducts and return to the modern facility. But before that, paradoxes. These things can fuck up any AI constructs if they think about them. And with that knowledge, up the elevator we go. So we are now back in the main facility and we get to see what that little shit has been up to. As it turns out, Captain Piss and Shit has amalgamated cubes and turrets together for the express purpose of making them walk onto the button. And like any other British person, he will scream at the problem until it gets resolved instead of doing it himself. And this is where we come in. Not all too different from the Poles, we do some manual labor for minimal profit. Lift box, put on button, screen now work. Chep check checker, whatever the fuck.
Alright, paradox time. This sentence is...
Gay. Wait, what? How did you...
The so-called paradox doesn't do shit because the steel pillock is too fucking dense to comprehend it, and so we are thrown back into the rat race once again. It is here that we learn that there's some kind of hardwired thing that basically gives him an orgasm every time a test gets solved, which he dubs the itch.
And everything is gonna be just fine.
Want a break from the ads?
We solve a few of his subpar tests, but as we do, the bastard gets less and less of an effect from that itch, and he gets gradually more and more pissed about it.
Apparently, being civil isn't motivating you, so let's try her way, alright? Fatty, adopted fatty, fatty, no parent.
So we piss him off a little more. Eventually he gets pissed off to the point where he decides to fucking kill us.
Hello, this is the part where I kill you. Had a bit of a brainwave. There I was, smashing some steel plates together.
For someone who is designed to be a moron, this is perfectly in character for him.
Stand right here, stand. Where you go? Come back, come back!
He proceeds to keep using the same trick to kill us with big spike plates, but also with turrets. How cute. Before long, we come across a section where we are given one last lesson. the one involving bombs.
And I just wanted to give you the chance to kill yourself now. Okay, I'll take that as a no then. Fine, well.
We of course decide to pay him a little visit and begin making our way towards his lair. And so we reach the part of the game where we are nearing the finale of the game and the franchise itself. As we take a funnel thing, we hear GLaDOS say something rather very humanizing for a change.
The scientists were always hanging cores on me to regulate my behavior. I've heard voices all my life, but now I hear the voice of a conscience, and it's terrifying. Because for the first time, it's my voice. I'm being serious. I think there's something really wrong with me.
I like to think that this isn't exactly GLaDOS speaking anymore, but rather Carolyn. We come across a storage space with a shit ton of corrupted cores. These are what we are gonna use to fuck him up. Through the catwalk, we make our way back to the place where it all started. We plug the Pride of Ireland into the thing, and up we go, to the final showdown.
Well, well, well. Welcome to my lair. First order of business, take care of that fucking little window licker that is standing in front of me. Luckily for me, I found the book by the guy with a funny mustache and learned from it. Turns out I just need to turn on the gas stove and just let it run. So there's that. Secondly, shields. And thirdly, bombs to flip your The fucking hell! My fucking coming! Alright, you damn broad! Look at what you've done! Ah!
First up, a core that won't shut the fuck up about space, which is ironic due to what is about to happen. Regardless, we slap that shit on.
Warning. Core corruption at 50%.
Oh, the fuck did you just do?
We take another pot shot at him when fucking Nolan North decides to make an appearance.
Quick, what's the situation? Well, butter my biscuit. Care to give me your pants? I just shit at mine.
Warning. Core corruption at 75%.
Enough! You have been a thorn in my side long enough. Ah!
The final one, known as the fact core that spills some interesting dribble.
Black Mesa ain't got bitches, these edibles ain't shit, and Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself.
Warning. Core corruption at 100%.
Ah!
Manual core replacement required.
Oh, I see.
Finally, this is where it all ends. These three fuckwads bicker while you go press the button when suddenly...
Still alive? You are joking! You have got to be kidding me! Well, I'm still in control, and I have no idea how to fix this place. Oh, you have to play bloody...
Almost out of options and out of time, there's only one option left.
Yeah. Space! Let go! We're in space!
Space!
Let go! Let go! I'm still connected! I can pull myself in! I can still fix this!
I already fixed it, and you are not coming back.
Oh no! Change your plans! Hold on to me! Tighter! Ah! Grab me! Grab me! Grab me! Grab me!
Oh, thank God, you're all right. You know, being Carolyn taught me a valuable lesson.
The power of friendship is just about as OP as it is retarded. That being said, I choose dementia.
Carolyn deleted.
Well, you found me. Congratulations.
After saying your goodbyes, you take the elevator, and you are heartwarmingly rewarded with a little farewell orchestra. Reaching the top, you step out into an uncanny field of grain or some shit when suddenly...
Stupid piece of fucking shit.
Okay, so I ain't dead just yet, got sidetracked by various games that I might cover at some point. As well as some personal shit, but who gives a fuck. Sorry about the wait. Next up should be the Half-Life episodes, which is going to be the last video to use AI voices. I want to stop using them for numerous reasons and... I don't know, maybe I'll voice all that dumb shit myself. But anyway, drop a like, sub, share with a friend, and do leave a comment. Fucking love reading and responding to all that shit whenever I can. Also, how about we play a little game? After I wrap up the Half-Life franchise, I have no clue which game or franchise I should cover next. So here's a little something I'm thinking of. There's a pinned comment under this video. I want you to comment which game or franchise you want me to cover. If I remain indecisive, I'll make a poll in my community tab, listing top 4 options after I release the episodes. So leave a suggestion in the replies of that pinned bitch and keep an eye out. Okay, so that's about it. See ya.
What the fuck?